This computer. You can write, got it. All right, to all the viewers who are watching me, and you know what? In the meantime, I will do one thing that would be basically sharing it on all the platforms. Those people who are joining us right now, welcome everyone. My name is Jyotsna Sharma. You must have seen me at different TV platforms, and now I am live on my own social media to make use of the social media in the most optimum manner and to reach out to the masses. This is my new show by the name Trending Talks with Jyotsna Sharma. The target and the purpose is simple, is to connect with masses, to reach out to them, spread the news, spread the information in the right manner, educate them and empower them. And of course, have some great discussions and debates on this platform. Of late, of course, people who are on visas, H-1B visa, and then who are waiting for their green cards, a lot of movement has happened in the employment-based category, visa numbers. And a lot of people got green cards last year and even now. And there are certain new regulations that have come from the USCIS on which we will be talking at length with our esteemed guest who is there with us tonight. But before that, what I want to know is, of course, I want to ensure that everything is all set because it is a social media platform. I am just taking a minute from you all to ensure that you are able to see us. You can put a hi, you can put your questions also onto the Facebook page, that we have. So what I'm trying to do is right now is on my phone, I want to see the messages. If we are, if you're able to see me, and that's what I'm seeing here, that yes, we are live here and there are people who are watching us right now. In addition to this, I would like to see the comments. If you're able to put some comments here, just checking it. I did receive a phone call even before the event started. And what I'm going to do right now is share it amongst different groups so that all of you can have access to this show. All of you can spread the news about what all things we will be talking with our esteemed guest. I will give you her introduction, a very well-known figure, a very well-known person who has helped the immigrant community on a larger, humanitarian basis, I would say. So, well, just taking the time before I introduce you all to her, and she gives you all the benefits of her knowledge. And here we are, we see that the show is live, and let's do one thing. I am sharing it and you can equally share with your friends. You can put a comment here if you are able to watch us. You can put your messages as well, your questions as well. I can take it from the Facebook page as well. Just borrowing a few minutes from you, and then it says that we have started live, of course, and I'm boosting this post, of course, and taking a minute from everyone so that it just presently goes in the nice manner to everyone. So here we are. And now I will definitely introduce you to our esteemed, okay, one second. So there are 2-3 things that we'll be discussing at length today. And first and foremost, we understand it is about I485 interfiling, which is very, very new. That USCIS has come up with this notification and everybody is interested to know more about it and they are in hurry to get it. But let me introduce you to our guest tonight, our panelist or say guest who has spared her time on the shortest notice to help us out. Her name is immigration attorney Prashanthi Reddy, ESQ, and she definitely is a very well-known person who has been attached with me in my previous shows, whether I was on TV Asia, whether I was, working with the Mana TV, TV5, whether I was hosting independent shows. And of course, she was there. She's a member of the American Immigration Lawyers Association. She has been selected as top 100 immigration lawyers in the state of New York by the American Society of Legal Advocates. And she's the member of the American Bar Association. Not just that, she also has been consulting or given all the consulting support to the Indian Embassy in New York. And Prashanthi is a very esteemed, lawyer, immigration attorney of repute who has often helped the non-immigrant visa holders, the community. Whenever I called her on the shortest notice to give updates, she was always available. Again, same time, again, she has come back when it is a big news of interfiling I485. Prashanthi, very warm welcome to you. Thank you so much for joining us on the shortest notice.
Thanks, Jyotsna. It's always a pleasure to be with you and participate in your webinars.
I highly appreciate it, Prashanthi. And you know what? Sometimes people have, all those concerns. Oh, there's another ILA member here, so must be having some personal interest. And I always tell them that ILA is a body, is an organization. Not everybody has the same mindset. Every attorney has a different mindset, and we are very fortunate to have Prashanthi ready to guide us throughout. She has been a ray of light. He has completely guided many people, saved many people. Their visas, statuses have been saved because of her. So I am pretty much on the guarantee. Prashanthi, first and foremost, let's start off with the USCIS sending a new, notification recently. We would like to know from you what was that notification that came about the interfiling, and at the same time, how are things changing right now with USCIS in terms of the visa availability, visa numbers, and everything? A little gist from you.
Yes, so the way we will do it this evening is we will start off with talking about, of course, the topic of the day, which is interfiling, and then I will give you a few more updates on H-1B registration, what's happening with the Biden, the bill, the budget bill where we all know that there's some immigration reform in there. So just wanted to give you a heads up on what's happening there. Some pointers on H4EAD. So, COVID, of course, is a big topic always from the last, couple of years.
I think
That's
because
the
of
only thing.
COVID, we have seen a major change here for this non-immigrant community. I must say that.
Yes, yes, and that's something that's always on our mind. So just a little tidbit about how what the recent change in immigration is with reference to COVID. So we will start off with again. Before I start off, thank you so much, Jyotsna, for having me here. As I said, it's always a pleasure to come to your platform, and we always have a lot of fun, and it's very engaging to be on this platform. And I always get a lot of good questions, and so let's hope this session is just as useful as the previous ones. So,
Absolutely, and we look forward to it, Prashanthi, for sure. In fact, that's how it is. And I believe, you know what, I have made it live on a different page, so I'm just putting it on my page right now, so people can get it from there. That this is some little change that has happened over before we lose on the interaction with the people here. So what I'm going to do is I'll put this page live right now so that people have all the information. Sometimes it so happens, I'm just trying to see if I can go live on the page. I don't want to stop the live stream at the same time, but I am H-1B visa community. I'm putting it at all the, normal groups basically, so that they can be available and we can go from there. So, because that's how we make use of the social media, the thousands of people waiting, and looks like it went live on my Facebook wall instead of the page. So just let me do this so that we are at even places. I'll share it to the page, my page exactly, it's there, published. Then I will take it to the other places as well, sharing through the group. Just give me a second before we start with the entire details then, Prashanthi.
sure, no problem.
Because this is what is important right now, and just doing it accordingly. In fact, there are a lot of people waiting tonight, so that's a good part. So just sharing everything as a link, so that it goes everywhere. There are a lot of groups, thanks to Vidya. And of course, I have a caller right now. Let me take this caller as well at the same time. Hello. Welcome to Trending Talks with Jyotsna Sharma. Please take your name. Hello. Can you hear me? Welcome to Trending Talks with Jyotsna Sharma. You're live with me, and we have Prashanthi Reddy here. Looks like.
Should we start off with a short presentation and then
I
take the
think that
Q&A?
would be better, because I don't want to take on the main part of the the message right now, unless everybody comes even on these different groups. So yes, I have a caller. Well, I'll take this caller because he is from California. Okay, let me see. This caller called us even before the show started, so I'm gonna connect back and talk. 1 second. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, we are live now on Trending Talks with Jyotsna Sharma. So you can ask your question and please take your name as well.
Yeah, actually, hello, are you able to hear me?
Yes, please.
I cannot hear him, Jyotsna, so you'll have to tell me what the question
Can
is.
you hear him?
No, I cannot.
Okay.
Are you able to hear me? Yeah,
A
actually,
little bit. Yeah.
about my recent,
Can you please mute out the video behind you so that it can be clear? Sure, please. I'll repeat the question for you, Prashanthi, don't worry.
yeah, hello?
Yes, please. You can ask your question.
Yeah,
And-
actually, the recent, yesterday, we see that the USCIS sent an alert regarding the interfile from EB3 to EB2. So there seems to be abundant green cards available, and hence USCIS wanted to file 485J, right?
Right.
So we feel that we are eligible for the following the points which they have discussed in the USCIS site. So can you please help me on that? So what are the challenges we are going to do? And I am on EB3 downgraded last year October 2020.
Okay.
So what is my priority date is 2012 September. So based upon last bulletin, the visa bulletin is current action date is 2013 January.
Right. So what's your name?
This is Naitik.
Naitik, you have downgraded from EB2 to EB3 last year?
I heard the question, Jyotsna. I could hear it.
Okay, perfect. Prashanthi, your answer, please.
So do you want me to start off? This is the main topic, and you
Okay,
said
so
that
you know what,
were trying
Naitik, we are coming on this only if it is not a specific question. Let Prashanthi give a complete overview of this notification that came up, and we will go from there further. Fine, Naitik, and are you able to watch us on live on the Facebook now?
Yeah, I'm on.
Okay, so hear it there, and Prashanthi will come back there. Okay, sure. Thank you. Yeah, Prashanthi, I believe that's the main curious question. Let's start off.
Okay, so all set to go?
All set. And again, to the viewers, we are live with immigration attorney Prashanthi Reddy, a very well-known figure, a person who has, of course, earned her love and appreciation among the non-immigrant community. Today, we are talking about the recent notification by the USCIS on the, I485 interfiling. So here she is specifically speaking on that, and then we'll go on to different topics as well.
Sure. So just to start off with the topic of the hour, interfiling of 485 with the EB2 and EB3 I-140s. USCIS calls it as something a little different. It's called transfer of underlying basis. And this interfiling or transfer of underlying basis is not a new procedure. It was always something that they always did. In fact, USCIS is supposed to use the I-140, which has the better priority date and process 485s. But there is also a system, in the past, there was a system whereby you could request for interfiling, but the problem is that they didn't have a procedure in place. You could request it. It was just, you had to send a letter to request interfiling with your, the I-140 approval that you wanted to use, but there was no way of knowing whether they received it, whether they're working on it. So it was and especially now with the backlog and with USCIS not even processing promptly the cases that are current, people were not sure that their request for interfiling would actually be looked at or just thrown into the garbage. So what a lot of people were doing where they were filing second 485s with, suppose they filed in EB3, they were filing second 485s in EB2 because they wanted to make sure, so if you file a 485, you'll get a receipt. So they wanted to make sure that USCIS will act upon this. And I had a show a few days ago on Thursday, I believe, and I was just saying that why is USCIS not giving us guidance on, doing interfiling? there should be some better guidance, a better process in place. And lo and behold, they came up with a process, because obviously they're already backlogged. They don't want all these duplicate filings of 485s. So
Right.
they did come up with something. It was like my prediction came true, thankfully. So now what it is if you're eligible to request to transfer the underlying basis of your I-140, you can do that as long as you have continuously maintained eligibility for adjustment of status, which means that if you've already filed the 485, but now you're no longer eligible to file a 485, then you can't do the interfiling. Something happened, maybe you are out of status or something. So you have to make sure that you're still eligible for the 485. Your adjustment of status application is still pending, which means it's not approved. Well, obviously, if it's approved, then you don't have to worry with changing from EB2 or EB3. You're eligible. Also, if it's denied, of course, then you can't do the interfiling. So that's what that statement means. And you're eligible for the new immigrant category, which means that that I-140 EB2, you haven't done an amendment, but you did a new, a new I-140 when you did it. So remember, there was a big controversy in October as to, how to downgrade, whether to file amendment or whether to do not to do amendment in the form. So if you've done amendment, then your EB2 is lost and you only have the EB3 if you downgraded it. But if you didn't and you just filed it as a regular I-140, then you have both. So if you do have both, then you're eligible for that EB2. It's still valid. So you are eligible to do interfiling. And of course, you have a visa immediately available in the new immigrant category. So they're basically saying that, if it's current, you should interfile only when it's current. If it's not current, then obviously you cannot interfile. That's a big something to remember, right? A lot of people have EB2s which are ahead of EB3s, but they're not yet current. You can't do it. You have to wait until it becomes current so that you can make this interfile request. You have a visa immediately available in the new immigrant category. That's the exact wording that USCIS has used. Now, this request has to be sent in writing, and basically we have a separate address to send it. And they're saying that these requests have to be sent to this particular address, or this address is good only until September 30th, 2022, because they're expecting to have a lot of visa numbers available until September 2022, September of this year, and until at the beginning of the next fiscal year. And they want us to send it to USCIS, Department of Homeland Security, USCIS Western Farm Center, 10 Application Way, Montclair, California. So they have a completely separate address for this. If you go to the USCIS website and just type in USCIS 485, then go to transfer of underlying basis, you should be able to find all this information that I'm talking about, including the address. Now, most importantly, you need to send out a 485J. And that's great, because if you send out a 485J, you actually will get a receipt. And so they actually have a process in place now so that you get a confirmation that they have received your request to change basis. So USCIS basically encourages applicants to send their transfer requests, and basically the 485J has to be sent, but there's one underlying situation in which a 485J does not have to be sent, and that is if you're requesting to transfer your underlying basis to an I-140 that remains pending, then you don't need to submit the 485J. You have to just send in a transfer request. But if your I-140 is already approved, then you must submit a 485J with your transfer request. So there's a transfer request, which is just on a white piece of paper, addressed to USCIS and the address that has been given by them. And in addition to that transfer request, the transfer request is simple. Please be aware that I have an EB2 I-140. which has been approved on so and so date. This is a priority date, and I would like to use that I-140 for my pending 485. Then you put in the 485 receipt, you put in the I-140 approval that you want to use, and then you have to send out also have to attach a 485 supplement J, which is signed by you and signed by your employer as well, because they want to make sure that the job offer is still valid, that your employer still has the job offer open for you. But remember, as I just said, if you have the I-140 is still pending, then and your visa number is available, then you do not need to send a 485J. But folks, if you don't send a 485J, the problem is that you will send out this request with all the information, but you will not get a receipt. So that's the only catch there with not sending out a 485J, because there's no receipt issued for a simple letter sent out. But USCIS is saying that they are receiving all the letters that you send, and if you have sent an interfiling letter previously, that they have received it and they're working on it, even though they haven't, they don't have a process of sending a receipt. So they're saying don't send out duplicate transfer requests. If you sent it already, then that's fine, they have it. So that's the in a nutshell.
So
what you need to do for interfiling. You don't need to submit a new. They're saying don't submit a new adjustment of status application. It's not needed. Interfiling is sufficient.
In fact, I'll cite an example. Prashanthi, recently, a friend of mine, they spent a humongous amount, over for their family, because their date got current in EB2 and they had downgraded it to EB3. So they spent a lot of money on, getting their medical done again, I believe, and then, filing in the 485 application again. And of course, attached everything. And I think they might have filed it now, or they might be about to post that application. So having said that, they are again interfiling only. Well, I'll take this call right now. 1 second. Hi, please take your name and ask your question. Hello? Can you hear me? There's some problem with I don't know. Anyway, so what I'm saying is, so they went whole 9 yards, and before, they were, I think they might have not posted it yet. This new notification has come now. So basically now they don't have to create the whole mess, right? All that 485 application, upgrading it to EB2 again, right? So
yeah,
how
so
they
you
go
don't
about
need to.
this?
I wish they would have done this a little earlier. So people would. I mean, I find a lot of applications like that in my office also, and it's a lot of expense again,
Yeah, they spent around
$4,000-5,000.
$6,000.
Yeah, depending on the size of the family.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. So I wish USCIS would have made that announcement a little earlier. They didn't care about it until they realized that, oh my God, this is a lot of work for us. It's always about them. It's not about
Right.
what is good for the,
It's ease of
the
work,
community.
basically.
It's just about them always. It's always like that. So they got scared with oh my gosh, we're going to get these 485s. They're going to be backlogged again. So let's take some action. It's
Right.
not about people are spending so much of money. They've already, so many people have already filed for a duplicate 485.
In fact, how it has happened is like the wave, that the herd, like the sheep's going herd, go down. So you downgrade it to EB3, 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 thousands of people downgraded. And then suddenly EB2 came up. It's like, come back, come back, come back. So there's
Come
the
back.
whole herd coming up. Now the point
Yeah,
is,
and then it's the same thing again, right? Because then EB2 will become
again, yeah.
oversubscribed, and then again it's EB3. It's a ridiculous situation. It's not funny, but
I hope USCIS comes up
it's.
to pace. In fact, I had personally made a statement to the director on the Twitter, because she was saying that our team is working good, and our people are working good at USCIS, making it, trying to do fast
I
work.
don't know what they define
So,
good as.
no,
My
so
definition
I
is good.
said, I wrote there, employ more people. We don't think you are at speed. There are thousands of people, and there are thousands of visas being wasted. These green cards need to be distributed at the right place. It's not happening. So now again, it's the same flow. The heavy flow goes there, then again it becomes clogged, comes back. So the only thing that they're doing is, don't file the whole set of application for 85s. just put the 485J and the request to upgrade now, right? I mean, EB3 to EB2
Yeah, to
interfile.
interfile with the, not upgrade, but interfile with the existing I-140 EB2. Just a request saying, I want to do this, just make a request in
basically
writing.
the original one, which was there, so EB2, they went to EB3. Okay. So EB2 is also valid, EB3 is also valid now because they downgraded.
Yeah.
So now they're
Yeah.
saying interfile using EB2, put the original one along with the application or what? Request.
Yeah, so basically what needs to be done is you need to write a letter requesting interfiling. You need to submit your I-140 approval that you want to use, and you need to submit your 485 receipt so that they can trace your 485. That's, and if
485J
required,
receipt.
if required, you need to submit your 485J application. It's required only if you have an I-140 that's already approved. It's not required if your I-140 is still pending. So it really depends on what the situation is, but it's better to be in a situation where you can file the 485J, because that way at least you get an acknowledgement from USCIS, because they give out receipts for 485Js.
So Prashanthi, here is the question. As we have personally seen, in fact, after 15 years, I got my green card. It was only in November 2021 I got my green card after 15 years of wait. And how the process was, it took almost a year for us to get the EAD at I-140, sorry, the I-140, like the normal GC EAD, sorry. And then after that, the 485J receipt that was supposed to come to my husband because I was his dependent, that 485J receipt came to him only 10 days before he could get his green card. So when we speak about the receipt of 485J, it's not happening. It's not at all happening.
Not necessary. I was going to say that it doesn't always happen. 485J receipts don't always come. They're very sporadic. Sometimes they send them, sometimes they don't. So when the 485J receipt does come in, people are confused. What is this? Does this mean that why am I getting two 485 receipts? Because they're confused, because they haven't, they're not used to seeing them.
Yeah,
but
they
they're
don't know
supposed
what
to send out
485J is, right?
Let's hope that with the interfiling, since they want to curtail the duplicate filing of 485, at least in the interfiling cases, they will send the 485J, because otherwise people will lose confidence in USCIS, because they won't know whether the interfiling has reached or not, and they will go ahead and file a duplicate 485 anyway.
That's the problem.
Because they're so anxious, they're not going to wait, and who knows whether that piece of paper has gone to USCIS or not. They ask us to believe that they have it, and that to sit back and wait. But we've known, for example, I'll give you an example. When you send out withdrawals of say your employer sends out a withdrawal of the H1, or you send out a withdrawal of your I-140 for whatever reason, those withdrawals are just pieces of paper where you write, I would like to withdraw my case. And there's never any receipt or never any acknowledgement from USCIS.
Oh, wow.
So in some instances, you will get an acknowledgement saying, oh, we've received it and withdrawn it. And that's like less than 30% of the cases where you get an actual acknowledgement saying we've withdrawn it. In all the other cases, you don't even get a response back. Remember, they don't respond to you unless you pay a fee. So if you're sending something without a fee, really, they will not respond to you. So this is the same thing. You're not sending a fee, you're sending a letter. So based on USCIS's past practices, when you send just these correspondence, out of the blue, sometimes they look into it, sometimes they don't. For withdrawal cases, a lot of cases, they don't withdraw the actual cases. You go onto the USCIS website, it still shows as approved when you actually want to withdraw it because you filed another petition. So it's the same thing. You're not sure whether, they'll actually honor your request or not, or whether they'll just go into the garbage. So that's the thing. We don't have much confidence in USCIS. I mean, the community doesn't. So, I don't know if this will solve the problem or not, but if they do send out those 485J receipts on every single case, then it might.
Okay. So here's the thing. Now, I just want to have a little understanding from you. People who have gotten their biometrics done, they downgraded, they got their biometrics done, and the 485 has gone, downgraded it. Okay. Now their date has come current into EB2. What is your estimation of timeline that everything will pace up if they interfile? Because biometrics are already done. And they have their GCEADs also even now.
So EAD biometrics has nothing to do with processing time. It kind of as you know, is a big if, is a big dark hole, it's because it is not the same for everyone, right? We've seen that. Some people get it earlier, some people get it later. Even though they have filed at the same time, there is no uniformity in processing time. So it's definitely better than filing a new 485. Interfiling is better because they're going based on the 485 that you already have. If you and they're looking at the date that you actually filed it. So the date of filing is the date that you filed the, your underlying 485. So they're
Right.
not going to start processing time right from the beginning. If you file a new 485, then processing time, even if it's current, will be 12 to 18 months or longer. As you said, the EAD itself took a year, is taking a
Right.
year.
Right.
So
Right. Right.
it's not even 12, it's much more than 485 will take a much longer time. So it's much better when the interfiling scenario is obviously much better than filing a new 485, because when you're filing a new 485, you have to wait for 12 months or 18 months or longer from the date of filing. So your date has to remain current for that amount of time, which is very unlikely. So interfiling, you have a chance of them approving the 485 while the visa number is still current. Whether they will do it or not, that's a different story. We don't know, how many visa numbers they will actually use, but at least it allows them, it gives them the scope, USCIS, the scope to use those visa numbers without having to, put the 485 back in line from the beginning.
Okay.
So,
It's really a
depending
clumsy
on how
situation.
long has been passed, whatever time has passed since the initial filing of your 485, so you have to look at it from that date, and you're not going back to the beginning. So that's a good thing.
Nice. So
Let's
they
see how
also
it
say
works out though.
they say after 6 months have passed from the initial date of filing of your 485, you are past the normal processing time and they should expedite it for you. I mean, they usually say that you should contact your center and ask them to, I mean, you can do that request, right? So if
That's a
somebody,
non-existent, that happens in zero cases. uh, Unless you have, and 6 months is too soon to ask for it, I would say. I would say 12 to 18 months.
right,
But even in those situations, it is only under dire humanitarian conditions that I think that they will actually look at it, like a death or, something like that, or something, some medical related issues or
then
something
they
really,
expedite.
really bad that's happening. That doesn't happen to anyone else, right? If you just
Well,
say
I
financial
would say one
hardship,
thing, they forgot me. So my husband got it. I was the dependent. I should have gotten it along with him. They had
yeah.
completely forgotten my case, 485.
Yeah, if they made a mistake, then they might consider, if the mistake was on their side, they might, not necessarily that they should, simply because they made a mistake, rectify it. If
Right.
it's,
So no, my case was sent to some other center and they said,
they've separated the files, which they shouldn't. They separated both the cases,
right, right, right.
which they do sometimes by mistake. But, so that's again an error on their part. They should keep
Right.
the files together. The family should be kept together.
Okay. And about the cost of this interfiling, what does USCI say about that?
There's no cost for interfiling. It's free. And that's what worries me, because then they won't send a receipt.
So you see, that's
Because
the
you know
point. My
what,
my friends who have just spent $6,000 over the entire process again, along with the attorney fee and all. One side it's going free. One side they have full intent of sending the new 485 application along with the medical. Biometrics are already taken care of anyways from the this EAD thing, right? And they're sending it. Now the dilemma is they must be thinking, should we send this now or just an interfiling? What do we do?
So
They're
now after the 485, yeah, so those people who have filed a duplicate 485 should also do interfiling now, because you're doing the interfiling on the old 485. So you
okay,
should do that, because it's not in your, it's a disadvantage to have a new 485 because your process is starting all over again. So if they have come up with a process and they're saying that we are going to actively work on interfiling, which they
right,
should have said much, much, much earlier,
right.
you know, so many people.
This is so insane,
we
you
have
know.
saved.
I mean, thank God.
This is typical USCIS. They
But
wake
then
up
they have
like.
woken up at least, you know.
Thank God. No,
Thank God.
but they only woke up because it is in their benefit, because they didn't want to deal with all the duplicate 485s and further backlog.
Right.
But they should have done it earlier. I mean, all of us could, even a lay person can predict, that this would happen. USCIS should be able to predict this.
That is the weirdness, you know. I mean, I don't know exactly. It has come after so long, the decision, when already they are just piled under the, these applications. And again, with interfiling requests going up, I don't know how is it going to happen. Concern is that.
Right. That will take up some amount of their, but that at least is their normal processing, because they anyway have to process those cases which are pending for quite some time. So I think this is really a good news, though late, but at least something's better late than never.
And
So
this
I'm
will
quite
be
happy
active
with
till
this.
September 2022, you are saying, right? This thing is going to
Yes,
happen.
because after that, they're not expecting maybe EB2 to be current or to have visa numbers available. So
And
that's
what
why
is your
they've limited
guesstimate? I
it.
mean, how do you guess about the dates going up in EB2 and EB3? What's your rough idea? Do you see that EB2 will go to 2014 sometime next year or not? Or EB3?
It's really hard. It's hard for anyone to estimate, and I don't want to, because now you'll start seeing a rush of EB2 cases.
Right.
And depending on how many people file, and how many people are current right now,
Right.
you will see that EB2 numbers will soon not be current, or not, will go back, will retrogress very soon. I mean, and so that's why I think their estimation is that September it'll retrogress, and that's why they've put it only until September. And next fiscal year is a different story completely. And hopefully with COVID on the wane, that's of course good news. But the other side of it is that consulates are opening up, and visa numbers are going to be used more in the family-based categories and by the consulates. So the numbers may not be available as they were in the last few years.
Right. So there are, of course, people. This Ankush Bhandari is asking, what's your assumption? When priority date of May 1st, 2014 will become current, EB2. So of course, it is tough to assume then.
Cannot say. And nobody can guess. Even USCIS doesn't have a guess on that. Yeah, I mean, Charlie Oppenheim is not there anymore, but even if you asked him, he would most probably say, I don't know.
So where did Charlie Oppenheim, I mean, who's replaced Charlie?
I don't know as yet, but they're not very active. They're not doing, I don't remember the name, but they're not doing YouTube calls like Charlie used to do. They're not as engaged as he was. So let's wait and see how they do, and whether they.
Well, we do appreciate Charlie Oppenheim for that reason. I must say, thanks to him for his YouTube lives. It was a lot of ray of light and a lot of good information we could get. In fact, that made us ready.
Correct. Even though he was not able to give us accurate information, I mean, we know what happened, right? He said something, and then something completely different happened in the last fiscal year. Completely different. So, but at least he gave us the information that he had at that time. That's why I'm saying these guesstimates are impossible to make.
Okay. And I will, repeat this number 732. I'll repeat this number where you can call us live right now as we speak, and you can give us a call in case you have a question. The number is 732-997-2409. It's on in front of my name also. If you see my screen, Trending Talks with Jyotsna Sharma, call 732-997-2409. This is the number to call and ask questions from Prashanthi Reddy. As we go ahead with our next topic, of course, we have to talk about the new H-1B registrations as well as the Bring Back Better bill. Well, I got a call right now. Let me pick up this call right now. Hi, please take your name and ask your question and reduce the volume of the background. Hello? Yes, please.
Yeah.
What's your name?
Yeah, my name is Gunjan Kalra.
Hi, Gunjan. Please ask your question from Prashanthi.
Yes. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Yes, ma'am. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Well, Prashanthi, he's talking to you, so you can respond back now.
Yes. Hi, Gunjan.
Yes, my name is Gunjan Kalra. I am on H1B for almost more than.
I'm doing great, well, Prashanthi.
Can you please reduce the volume of the background, Gunjan?
Okay, hold on.
Yes, please.
Yes, so I have a question. I downgraded from EB2 to EB3 in November 2020. Yes, hold on, please. Can you hear me now?
Yes, please. Better. Okay.
Yes, so I downgraded on I downgraded from EB2 to EB3 in November 2020. November 2020. And after that, I was waiting for my EAD and advanced parole for almost more than a year.
Okay.
And my downgraded EB3 was approved, I-140 was approved, and my EB2 was already approved in 2020. And I just want to know this change of USCIS. I think like you're just talking on that topic. You think I'm really eligible for that, to do that? I mean, and my priority date is May 2012,
Yes. Prashanthi, you can repeat that one more time. Now, everybody would ask for their particular instance, so just we would need your help. Yes.
Yes, of course. Yes. It looks like you're, so basically, as I said previously, as long as you're current, you can ask for interfiling, and it looks like you have an EB2 I-140 approved and EB3 as well, and you have a 485 which is pending. So unless something has happened that has made you ineligible to file a 485 now, which is unlikely, it looks like you
So Gunjan
are
is on.
eligible.
Gunjan, you are very much active with your job with the same employer, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay, perfect.
And even if he's not, he can also file, you can always change jobs as well and ask for interfiling at the same time. So, it seems like you qualify, Gunjan, for the interfiling.
So you very well qualify for this, Gunjan, and you have to do this interfiling, write an application as Prashanthi guided through, So along with your 485 receipt, right, Prashanthi?
Yes. So use your 485 receipt, send out a letter.
Yes.
I have another. Okay, I have another caller, Gunjan. So you can interfile. Okay.
Yes, I just have a question. I was not sure whether my I-140 was amended or not. I was not sure about that,
Well, it depends on whether you filed an amendment on your I-140 or simply filed a new I-140.
So he amended. He sent an amendment on his I-140.
Is that true?
No. I mean, no. Sorry. Did you file an amendment on your I-140, Gunjan?
So I'm really not sure about that, really.
Okay, so you need to need to get a copy of the I-140 form from your attorney or employer and see whether they've marked amended in the I-140 form. If they've marked it as amended, then you cannot do it. If they did not, if they left that column empty, then it's presumed to be a new I-140, and then you maintain your EB2 and EB3 as well.
So maintain both of your
find out.
EB2 and EB3, right? That's what Prashanthi says, and then you are eligible to interfile as is. Okay.
Oh.
All right. I mean, everybody has a different instance, case there. So I am getting a call again. I'll take this caller as well. Hi, welcome to Trending Talks with me, Jyotsna Sharma. Are you live with us? Please take your name and ask your question. May I know who's this? Hello? Yes. Yes, please. Tell your name and ask your question.
Hi, my name is Runa, and can I ask my question?
Yes, please.
Hi, so I have an approved I-140 from EB2, and my priority date is 2014, and then last year
Runa, so you have a priority date of 2014
So last year I downgraded in October 2020, and I have not. Yes.
So the
last year I downgraded.
Looks like there is a problem of the reception, but I understand she has downgraded in 2020 for EB2 to EB3 looks like, but this is
Right,
date is
but what-
2014. 2014 is
Correct.
far off, Runa.
It's not current.
It's not current yet. You understand?
So if it's not current, maybe she's asking if she can interfile or not. We're
So
not sure what
are
her
you
question
asking
is,
that
but-
you want to interfile now?
So if I receive, yes. So if I receive travel AP,
Advance AP?
Advance Puro.
So if I receive AP and EAD in EB3, can I interfile later when the date becomes current?
Yes, you can, as long as, well, actually, yes, you can. There's no as long as. Yes, you can. You can.
Can I change it to EB2 later?
You can
Yes, you
interfile.
can.
Yes, you can interfile, Runa. No problems at all. Okay. Well, viewers, 732-997-2409 is the number. You can call us. I know there is some issue with the Facebook acting too smart, disabling our comments. And I must tell you, this recording would also go on the YouTube later on. So you'll be able to see this version, the whole recording on the YouTube as well. And I had a caller who was calling me. I'll revert back the call to the caller. I understand. I respect your time. If you are calling us and you have a question, we'll call you back as well. If we have missed the call, hi. Welcome to Trending Talks with Jyotsna Sharma. You can ask your question. Hi. Yeah.
Janardhan.
Hi, Janardhan. Yeah.
Message is saying that you can apply for adjustment. Right now, I am I got my 140 approved and my priority date is 2015. Any news for us? We need to apply for the adjustment status now.
So 2015 is your EB2, you are saying?
Yeah, 2015 February.
EB2 February, you're saying, right?
Yeah.
And you have downgraded to EB3 yet or no? You know, take
So
some
the
rest.
question, right, the question is basically whether there's any scope for him. You have to wait and see. Right now we're working, they're working on EB to 2013, as you know. It's difficult for us to predict when they'll reach 2015. So you'll have to be a little patient and wait and watch what happens. Maybe you can file with, your dates for filing are still there available. So if you haven't filed, you can file based on dates for filing. But getting the green card, even dates for filing actually is 2018, right? EB3, no, EB2 is, EB3 is 2012 and EB2 is 2030, even for dates for filing. So
They
you
are
have
barely a month different.
some
Yeah,
time.
there's not
Yeah,
much
you
of a
have
gap.
this. It's pretty much the same as final
Janardhan,
action.
there's a long way. I mean, keep waiting,
Long wait.
stay positive. And I would still recommend to all the people who are watching right now, as they say, about the immigration bills that we are waiting for and the forever dream, which has never come true, those comprehensive immigration reform bills or say Build Back Better America dream bill that is supposed to come and pass, hasn't passed yet. We need to do advocacy if you really want to get your numbers right and get your green card faster.
Right.
For
And
your
maybe
call,
this is a good time to talk about the Build Back Better bill and see
yes,
what's
so
happening on
Prashanthi,
it, so
yes,
that
I will definitely. That's what we have less time as well. So let's talk about this Build Back Better bill, as well. And we understand in the House the bill passed.
So basically, what has happened is the Senate parliamentarian Elizabeth McDonough, she has to advise the Senate Democrats as to whether it's a good idea to put the immigration part of it into the budget reconciliation, into the budget bill. So 3 times they have tried to get her approval, and it's strike 3 now because 3 times she has rejected the party's attempt to put in, immigration reform into this Build Back Better bill. And each time they have made some changes, and they thought that those changes would satisfy the Senate parliamentarian, but that has not happened. So what's happening now is, but remember this, even though she has struck it down, it doesn't mean that they cannot proceed. This is simply advisory. So what they're doing now, the advocacy groups like you guys, they are pushing for slightly more bolder, riskier strategy to ask the Senate Democrats to disregard basically the advice of the Senate parliamentarian. And under this proposed disregard strategies, Senate Democrats would then reinstate the language in the bill and would update, the immigration registry and all those different parts of the bill that all the different proposals, they would put them back. One is, of course, path to citizenship for everyone, not just people who are out of status. Also, people who are on long waits for visa numbers, there's a way of them adjusting within a year by paying an extra amount of money. They're going to make use of unused visa numbers to bring back more numbers into the pot. So in order for this disregard strategy to work, at least 41 Democratic senators out of the 50, 41 have to vote to sustain to keep the language in. And after that, once they vote and they keep it in, all 50 Democrats in the Senate would be needed to pass the final bill. Now we know that there's one Democratic senator that is holding out, Joe Manchin. They're talking to him. He right now said that he won't support the bill, but they need all 50 Democrats to support the bill. So it's important to reach out to him. Joe Manchin, Joemanchin. He's from Virginia.
Joe Manchin, you should, yes, people should reach out to Joe Manchin too.
And also reach out. All advocacy groups are doing this, so you guys should do it also. Reach out to your senators and tell them how important it is to you that this bill get passed. So that's important advocacy. And the midterm elections are approaching. And we don't know what's going to happen with the Republicans, whether they have a chance to gain control of both or one of the chambers of Congress. So the window to pass this legislation is quickly closing. So advocacy is needed now.
So again, to all the viewers who are watching us right now, of course, as Prashanthi says, it is the time to get active in your advocacy. Yes, any and every advocacy group. If you're serious about it, and if the people who are in the green card backlog, who are waiting for this unwanted times, how the fooling around is happening, time to get active. Reach out to your congressmen, to your senators, ask them to pass this bill. Be active to get the Senate version done. Of course, 2022 elections might be a little clumsy, where it may happen that the Republicans may take some seats. I mean, the Democrats may lose some, or whatever happens, we really don't know the logistics or the numbers, but at the same time, if you're active now, then you can save your future. And of course, when it comes to this interfiling, as you know, yes, interfiling is happening. You should interfile from EB3 to EB2. There are no charges. You have to, write an application, file it together. Okay, I'm getting a call again. I'll take this call again. Hi, welcome to Trending Talks with me, Jyotsna Sharma, and you're live with Prashanthi Reddy. Please take your name and ask the question.
On a O3 visa.
So Chetan has a question about O3 visa. Chetan, can you please repeat your question once more?
Yeah.
Do we have to wait for 90 days if they enter on O3 visa? That's your question? Your voice is breaking. We were filing for 485. Okay.
So if you enter.
So he has entered. He has entered on O3 visa, and he's saying, do we have to wait for 3 months, 90 days before filing I485?
So O visa, any O visa, doesn't have an intent issue. It's like a H visa. So you can convert to a 485. There's no 90-day wait requirement. For example, if you came on a B2 visa and then try to convert immediately, there would be an intent issue. That means you entered with the intent of immigrating. But for an O, a H, or L, some of these visas, there's no intent issue, so there is no 90-day. There's no need to be cautious and wait for 90 days and then file for adjustment to overcome that, intent, what intent you had upon arrival.
So basically, you can file it without waiting for 90 days, Chetan. That's what Prashanthi is saying. This is not an intent issue here. All the best. Thank you. All right. So viewers, if you're watching us, the number is same, 732-997-2409, 732-997-2409. And you can ask your question. And I know there was some issue. Well, Prashanthi will come back again on my show again for these things and questions. Facebook is acting pricey. Maybe I'll do my live next time on the YouTube for that reason. Well, I'm having a call again from Gunjan Kalla. Gunjan, what's the next question?
Yes, I'm sorry to bother you again. My question is, where do you see the amended on I-140? Does it written up there on I-140 approval notice?
It'll be in the I-140 form.
Okay.
I just want to ask you.
Sure, Gunjan. Prashanthi is responding. Listen to her. Yeah.
It will be in the I-140.
Does it say on amended on the I-140 somewhere?
Yes, so I'm answering your question. So can you hear me?
Yes.
So the I-140 form, which is filled out and sent to USCIS by your attorney or employer, that's where the information will be there as to whether it's amended or not. So you have to ask for your employer for a copy of your entire application that was sent to USCIS. And then go look at the I-140 form and then look at, I don't know if it's the first page or second page most probably. It'll say whether there'll be a tick mark for amended if it's amended. And if there's no tick mark, that means it's not amended, it's a new application. So you're good to go.
You got it, Gunjan?
Yes.
All right. All the best. Check with your employer. Thank you. Okay. So Prashanthi, now let's move further. So it's about, of course, as we speak about build back better bill, of course, we have to, get these advocacy groups going. It's not just about advocacy groups also going. I would still say that, it's your individual responsibility as well. I mean, everybody who is paying taxes here has right to call their senator or congressman and request to them. It is not just any advocacy group, who's wearing this laurel that only they can work for you. You can work for yourself as is. So I'm having another caller, Prashanthi, 1 second. Hi, welcome to Trending Talks with me, Jyotsna Sharma. What's your name?
Hey, hi, myself Hemant Kumar.
Hi, Hemant. And what's your question? Ask it directly, from Prashanthi.
So my green card is in process in EB1 category. So my I-140 was approved on October 9th, and I have filed my 485, 765, and 131 on November 10th. So I got my biometrics on 20th of January, that is day before. So any ETA or trend that you can see for EAD and my green card, receiving the green card, please?
And you are the EB1 lucky guy, right?
Yeah. So call me on EB1. Yeah.
All right.
So he's asking, basically, I guess he's asking, when do you see the EB1 getting approved?
Yes,
Again,
the timeline, basically, Prashanthi.
The timeline is 12 to 18 months, but don't quote me on it because every person, there is no uniform timeline.
EB1s are also in the same boat right now?
No, processing time, right? It doesn't matter even if a case is,
okay.
So the EB1 has to continue to be current for a period of at least 1 year or more from the date of filing. So only then, and we don't know if EB1 is going to go back next year or what's going to happen next fiscal year. But right now it's current. It's been current for quite some time. EB2 also is moving forward. So EB1, that means, is better than EB2. So there's a good
Any day.
prospect that you will get your green card, but again, there's no guarantee. So you just have to wait and watch, and I cannot really give you a prediction of when you will get it because unfortunately it's not uniform. They're processing, USCIS processing.
No, we understand, Hemant. It's just that USCIS has acted lately very differently with the, I don't know what all pressure they have during the COVID times. I mean, you know how it is. So all the best. Thank you so much. Thanks for the call. Right. So Prashanthi, let's take on the topic of H1B, new H1B registrations as well. I know there might be some employers and there might be some OPT students looking out for themselves, you know, as the message has gone to different groups. What is the situation with this new registration? I know it all changed last year, but again, people who are new, they need to understand and get educated on this. How does it happen? How are attorneys helping out? How is it happening?
So H1B registration, is been depending on whose perspective you look at it from, but has been successful and is good for employers because they don't have to file a petition and waste
So
a
how
lot of
does it work?
money and
Okay,
then
from a
have the
layman's language,
petition
we would like to know,
returned.
Prashanthi, sorry to interrupt, you know, from a layman's perspective, anyone who's filing new H1B, the registration, can you throw a little detailed light on it?
Yeah, so the registration is basically you have to go to a USCIS website, which they've given us, register. And once you register, all the registrations will be accepted by a certain period of time, and then there'll be a deadline, a cutoff date, and by that cutoff date, then they will hold, based on the registrations, they will hold a lottery system, and then if you're approved in the lottery, you can then file the actual I-129 application. The registration is only just you have to enter your name, employer's name, just
So it is
some
basically the
basic
employers who
information.
can do it. It's not the
Yes, it's a
individual.
H1. It's a
Yes.
H1. So only employers can do anything to do with a H1. It's an employment-based petition.
Absolutely.
So the changes this year, so it's been going well, but there have been a lot of issues, as you know, people trying to circumvent the system by filing duplicate petitions. So beneficiaries, employees have been filing 4 or 5 petitions. So one person filing 4 or 5 petitions.
Oh, wow.
So the person who files one petition doesn't get obviously as much chance of getting picked as the person who files 5 petitions. Then this person who files 5 petitions will only file one H1. So you're using up all those numbers. And so a lot of people are frustrated by the fact that an individual is allowed to file 5 applications through different employers. So there is a lawsuit. So the update on that is, the last 2 years we've been looking at the issues with registration, and one of the issues is this. So now there is a lawsuit on multiple filings, which was the lawsuit was filed in June of last year, because a lot of numbers are getting wasted. So the latest update on that is in December, the judge allowed the lawsuit because USCIS asked them to throw out the lawsuit because it was moot because registration was already over, but the judge said that the lawsuit could continue. So we should wait and see what happens on the basis of this, whether USCIS has said that they'll be making some changes. So I think they'll announce those changes in February. So maybe they will no longer allow duplicate filings. We have to wait and see what happens in this regard. So that's something to watch for with reference to the registrations that are going to happen this March. Okay. Another important change that has happened.
1 second, Prashanthi, I've gotten this call again. So yes, Chetan, you have a question again?
Yeah, I have a separate question about the new regulation for premium processing for EADs. When do we expect
which premium processing? Which EADs are you talking about, Chetan?
The new regulation that was law that was passed for premium processing of EAD, like for extra fee.
EADs for H4 or what?
EADs, general EADs for the GC.
Okay, so I couldn't hear, but I think what he's saying is, and if you could repeat the question so that our viewers.
So Chetan, repeat your question again.
Or Jyotsna, you can repeat the question.
When do we think the regulation for premium processing for EAD will be implemented?
Yes, that's what I thought you asked, but yes. So his question is basically for those who couldn't hear. When do you think premium processing for EADs will be implemented? That's his question, and that's a good question. And as we all know, when Biden came into power, that there was an executive order that he passed, and one of the points of the executive order was premium processing for many for H4 EADs, 485 EADs. So a lot of they recommended doing premium processing for a lot of cases, but USCIS and they've given USCIS time to look into it and to figure out how much to charge and what the time period would be, etc., etc. But USCIS has not gotten back. It's been a year. USCIS has not gotten back with details on how they're going to implement premium processing because obviously they don't have the manpower to do it and they have mismanaged funds, so they don't have the funds, even though we pay so much for each application.
So basically, there is a zeal of positivity. Some hawa mein surri chhod di gayi hai. There are some happy news, but when do they come to fruition? We don't know, right, Prashanthi?
Yes, I mean maybe it's something that they cannot do right now. That's why, even though the White House is recommending it in an executive order that premium processing be implemented, until they have the budget and they have the manpower to do it, maybe they will not. But we have not heard anything further. But we will keep you updated if we hear anything. But maybe they're hoping to reduce the backlog first, or So I think they're not in a position to do it right now.
Thank you, Chetan. Indeed, a very interesting question. Well, thank you for your call. I hope you got your answer. All the best. All right. So, Prashanthi, pretty much, USCIS is trying to look good in front of the people. But then on the actuals, the things are slow.
Yeah, it's, the Biden administration is trying to do as much as they can, but they can't. They're trying to pass immigration reform. They're not able to. They're trying to, through executive orders, make changes. They have obviously had a lot of success with H1s.
Right.
They have withdrawn a lot of they've withdrawn the public charge rule for now, which is a big blessing for those filing 485, especially family-based. So they've done some good things, but there's a lot more to be done, and I think it can only be done through legislature. And if they're not able to do it through legislature, then they have to actively do it through executive orders. Maybe they're trying to use the legislative route first, so that when if they use executive orders, that can be questioned in court of law. So they're trying this process, and if it doesn't work out, I guess they'll try the executive order route.
So,
but as I was saying,
let's proceed to the registration part now, because of course we have actually crossed an hour almost, and I've taken ample of your time. So let's talk about this registration process. As we speak about last year, what has happened is one applicant had applied through 5 employers, right? You're saying, and that's how the lawsuits have happened. So okay, so if somebody gets picked up at 2-3 places, so this is a clash of application. What happens? Does the application get disabled? I mean, they reject it, or what happens exactly in that case? Otherwise,
so the registration is done already, and they're supposed to. So USCIS has warned people or made an announcement that if you have a registration and if it is approved, you have to file the H1, or you have to give valid reasons as to why you're not filing. But people have obviously not filed because they've filed 5 registrations. They can only file 1 application.
Right.
And USCIS has not really taken any action or asked any questions about why the other cases have not been filed. But they have opened up the lottery 3 times last year, meaning that the first lottery was opened up. Obviously, everybody didn't file. All those who registered didn't file. So they again opened up they did another lottery. So they did 3 lotteries. And this latest lottery is now going on, and the cases are due to be filed in January. So, but I still think that all the numbers are not being used. And there's no, there's no clarity or transparency as in how many registrations, how many people didn't file, how many numbers are left. Of course, there's no transparency with reference to that. So we don't know whether the numbers have been used or not.
So, one more thing with the registration.
And
My
this
question,
duplication,
right?
doesn't
In the
help.
duplication, when we speak about duplication and all, okay, fine. Eventually, one application is going after the registration number is picked in the draw, right? So one
Correct.
party applies. Now, what happens
Correct.
is, now how is this documentation there? I mean, how much is the stringency about getting a client letter and all other things? Getting a project in hand. How is it working out with the employers now?
Yeah, that's much better after IT-Serve versus Cessna. After that, last year, I believe, or the year before, they won that case. The year before, they won that. IT-Serve won that case with IT-Serve versus Cessna, where they said that you cannot ask for all these documents, and it's burdensome to the employer. But though they're not asking for the employer-employee relationship, based on which most of the cases were denied, they're not asking for that documentation, but you still need to show that the employment is not speculative, that you have an employer, that the employer has a job for the employee that they wish to hire. So you do need to submit some kind of a purchase order from a client or a letter, but it's not as stringent as it was before. There's no need to show the relationship between all the parties, submit documents from all the parties. So it's become much easier, and there's no longer any RFEs for employer-employee relationship. But there are RFEs for students and there are RFEs for specialty occupation. So we still have some problems, but some problems have gone away. But there has been another update on the lottery system. The lottery system, they said that they would use wages to prioritize individuals that are put into the lottery, meaning that those with and this was under the Trump government. So basically they said that, and they even passed a regulation saying they would do it this way. So under the Trump government, basically they passed a regulation saying that, if you have a higher wage, then you will be prioritized for the lottery. So first, all the higher wage people will be put into the lottery, and then if all the numbers are not filled, then the lower wages, which means pretty much that only those people who get level 4 wages will be accepted in the lottery, and the other ones won't get a chance because there are not that many numbers. So in that issue, there was immediately a lawsuit filed, and the good news is the court basically vacated that rule, and also USCIS also has withdrawn it under the present government. So they've withdrawn. Yeah, so we don't have to worry about that rule anymore. We were worried about it. This year it's not going to be implemented. They might come up with something else, but for now, 2023 cap season, we will not be having H-1B registrations based on wages. So that's another update I wanted to give.
Nice update. In fact, Prashanthi, I know we have taken ample of time. It's almost 1 hour, 15 minutes. I don't want to take you in a hostage situation right now. I will let you go today, but we'll come back again. And I want to keep you every month at least. We want you to, be there in my show and educate the masses. Of course, a little tricky on the part of the Facebook comments being blocked here. I don't know what happened exactly. I was not able to see the comments. But anyways, it was a very informative session because callers have asked whatever is sufficient, and it's the same answer to all those calls indeed. And you always give that, great information and educate the people there. So we are very thankful for you, to you for that reason. And just to summarize again, in the end, if we speak about interfiling 485 downgrade, like upgrade now, of course, EB3 to EB2 now, interfiling. So earlier when we spoke last year, you remember last year, it was downgrade we were talking about. Now we were talking about upgrade from EB3 to EB2, or say interfiling. Just recollect that so that it's clear for the people again, and that there is no money involved and what all things is there. Just two liners there.
Yeah, so again, just to reiterate what we talked about at the beginning of the show for those who missed it, the 485, 485 interfiling announcement has come in. Now, this is not a new law. It's already been there. USCIS is simply reminding us that it's there. And they're reminding us that they are actually taking action on it, because we were not sure earlier if we interfile whether they take action or not. So they are telling us that they will take action. They're telling us that there's no need to file duplicate 485s. They've given us a procedure on how to do interfiling. They're asking us to send out an interfile request along with the 485 receipt, I-140 approval, a request in writing, and a 485J application when needed. It is needed if your I-140 is already approved. 485J is not needed if the I-140 is pending. And they will send out a receipt for the 485J if you send that. And so that way you know that they've at least received it. We're hoping that they do send out 485J receipts because we know that they have not been doing that in every instance in the past. So that's, I think, a summary of the interfile.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And in case they were to connect with you for seeking some more extra guidance, Prashanthi, where best can they connect you?
The best is to send me an email, prashanthi@reddyesq.com. You can also find me on Google. Just type in Prashanthi Reddy.
Prashanthi
No, Prashanthi, Prashanthi @reddyesq, reddyesq.com. You can also just find me on Google and connect with me via my website. That's possible as well. Just type in Prashanthi Reddy Attorney. Or
Absolutely.
Prashanthi
And on the
Reddy
Facebook, you have your page, Law Offices of Prashanthi Reddy ESQ, if I'm not wrong, right?
Yeah, I'm not very active on Facebook, but yes.
Although, but still the message can come there also. They can find your contact info at least from there, right?
That's correct. Yes, that's correct.
Appreciate your time, Prashanthi. Thank you so much. You are in India. I made you wake up early this time. I know I'm spoiling your vacation somewhere, but I thought it is of imminent interest of the people, that I should call you and get it done as soon as I got to, see the news in the morning today. And we wish you a happy time in India. Stay safe and come back safe. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Same to all of you. Stay safe and stay healthy.
Thank you so much. Appreciate your time. Thank you, viewers. This was my second show on immigration. We'll come back with another important topic. Thanks. Bye-bye. Good night.